Hi friends, my name is Borro Dante. Let's talk about why music is evil. So, how do you like my new head? Probably quite shocking, eh? Well, I had to do something with my absence of hairline, so I got it back in the middle of my skull apparently. And also, as I discovered, this is very close to what the guitarist of Rammstein has. I may actually do the hard edge the way he did. I think that will look pretty cool. But anyway, this is the reality now. Deal with that. I gotta say, I feel a lot happier about it. It kinda looks slick, probably requires certain adjustments, certain getting used to, and maybe growing it a bit longer to make it work better. But there's that. Roast me in the comments. So anyway, to the main topic. So as I mentioned in the previous video, I did an experiment. I wasn't listening to any music for 1 week. And the reason for that grew in me for quite a long time. Here's the thing. I listen to the music 24/7, like constantly. Or now used to. But the point is, it was a constant, like I always had a soundtrack for my existence. And of course, most of my friends are very much of mellow maniacs, They really like music a lot and also listen to it all the time. You never see me or my friends outside when we're on our own without earphones. So we're that kind of people. And one day I thought to myself, there's a certain pattern to the kind of people we all are, the ones that like music a lot. We seem to be so-called introverts, socially awkward, sociophobes. Probably you can call all that. And I thought, it feels kind of understandable how that can be connected. If you constantly listen to your music, you kind of have your own atmosphere going on in your head, your own rhythm, and it's really hard to break it to start talking to somebody. Imagine, for example, you're watching like a horror movie, right? And the main character is walking slowly through a dark mansion or whatever. And there's like an atmospheric music going on. And as he opens the door, the music completely stops. You'll freak out. Because that's always the scariest part, when there's complete silence going on. You know that right now there's gonna be a screamer, and that's 100%. The reason why the trick works so well is because this whole time we were listening to the music that made our brain rely on it in getting the context of what's going on. And then suddenly it stops. And our brains are getting lost. And we have to figure out the context ourselves. And we can't because there's nothing to grasp on. And we become afraid because we're like broken out of our comfort zone, in a way. It's even smaller than a comfort zone thing. It's a real-time kind of a shock. So now we have me, sitting at home listening to my favorite music constantly, and then suddenly my phone rings. That's always my most stressful part of the day, when someone actually calls me. I had a huge, giant theory on how horrible phone calls are, how unacceptable they are in 2016, 17, whatever, when there's hundreds of ways to connect to me using any kind of text or anything, which are basically a way more polite ways to connect to a person, in a way that I will respond to a text whenever I'm free to do so, when I'm comfortable to do that. And I felt like it's a horribly rude act to actually make my gadget ring loudly until I pick up and in real time answer to the person. Like they're the king of the world, you know? It felt so insulting that people do that. And the main reason why it felt so hard to me is because I had to stop my music and it broke that rhythm, that atmosphere that was dictated in my head. And I got into the situation, like every time I have to start a conversation, the music stops. I have the screamer approaching. It's always very stressful to experience that. Now imagine that going on basically unnoticed in a way, like you never really think about this being such a problem because of music. Imagine that keep going on for years and years. You walk around town with music, you sit at home with music, you put on headphones anytime you can in the university or whatever you are. You're constantly being locked up in your own atmosphere avoiding any conversations because they become harder and harder. It's so easy to just jump into your little atmospheric sound and just drift off that way. So I thought that's a good theory to test, and I did so. Now, what I just mentioned about the phones, I really had no idea that that would be a thing that it will affect. Because mostly I was expecting it to change my productivity, which it definitely did. What I found out after a week of the experiment is that I became a lot more productive doing many little things around the house or about the work I do. When I have to go back and forth, remember in the previous episode I mentioned that I was going outside twice? So I did so many things that day, just because absence of music didn't grab me all the time and made me stay in place and do something like one thing for a long time. This is what music is good for. That's probably why I'm an artist. Because it's so easy for me to just sit in one place and do something, like one thing for a long time. Whenever you have any kind of artistic or little thing that you have to do for a while just sitting in one place, music is perfect for that. I use it so much right now while I paint and while I edit the videos, because that's a thing that you just have to do for a long period of time. You get a lot more productive when you do that. Although, I haven't really noticed being less productive when I paint or edit without music. So maybe after a long period of time you kind of lose a certain, flow if you do something repetitive without music. I don't know. But one thing I do know is that doing a lot of small activities during the day is so much better when you don't have any music going on in your house, anywhere around you. It's really weird to me to realize that it was a huge, exciting new thing that I could just think about doing something and just go ahead and do it right that instant. That never happens when the music is around. You kinda have to prepare yourself, I don't know. Change the music or something. It gets in your head, it kinda hypnotizes you in a way. So anyway, that's about productivity. Now about the social part. I'll describe you one time during the week when I went to the grocery store to buy some veggies and stuff. So what it usually looks like, I put on my earphones and I go to the store. I go through the whole thing, wearing my earphones, never hearing a single thing from the outer world. Then I come home, I take off the earphones and I immediately turn on the music on my computer. Sounds like a serious mental disorder as I describe it right now, but it's not that crazy. Although it is, I guess. So I decided to leave the headphones at home and go outside, being there with my ears. And so I did. I was walking towards the store, hearing nature and city and random people around me. One thing that I really appreciated is that I felt a lot more like I'm there. Not just with my eyes, but also with my ears, which is a pretty big chunk of information coming in your head. So I felt kind of a lot more aware and a lot more awake. I could react faster, not just because I actually have a tactical advantage of hearing things, but it made my brain a lot more actually aware, faster to react to things. Anyway, I was walking there and a group of little kids from the school were coming home or something, and one of them dropped a glove. I looked at it and I immediately yelled, "Hey, who dropped the glove? Hey, yo kids, who dropped the glove?" One of them turned around, came back for the glove, they all thanked me, and I moved on. Now that's the first thing that never happened to me. I'll describe the second thing and then I'll make a conclusion. Second thing, it probably happened to you more than once in your life, if you have the kind of stores that take place in my city, if you wear headphones. So you collect apples into a bag, and then you have to weigh it on a special thing. Select the type of apples you chose, press a button, and it will create a check on a sticker, so you put it on the bag, and you have your apples bought. Now, I was standing in a line. In front of me there was one old lady doing that very thing with lemons. Now, old ladies and these little machines, the check machines with weighing devices, are completely incompatible. They can't figure out how to do that. So what she did was she pressed L button for lemons, and she was just looking at this thing, and it was not enough to actually filter out all the products of the store for lemons to show up. So she should have at least pressed like LE maybe, or LEM, so she would see the lemons, but she didn't see them. And I'm standing there and looking at her, at the screen. And she also kind of sees that I'm standing there, so she starts to freak out and kind of like all nervous and making even more mistakes. So what she did, she pressed L again, so now she had LL and nothing showing up in the filter. And what I did, it all took like, I don't know, 5-7 seconds. So I said, can I help you? You need lemons, right? And I restarted the thing, pressed LEM, and there were lemons. I pressed it and quickly gave it to her in like 3 seconds. And she went away. Now, with these both cases, with the kids in the glove and the woman and the lemons, what would happen to me all the years of my life before? I would see the glove and I would just keep going. Because you can't yell to somebody when you have earphones on. You can't talk to people when you have your own rhythm. Whatever you would yell would seem to your brain like yours sounds stupid. There's so many reasons in your brain going on in dynamics that make you so not want to communicate to others. So I would just keep walking. And while I would keep walking, what would I do? I would constantly make an excuse for myself why I didn't do that, why I didn't tell the kids. I would start inventing ideas like as stupid kids, whatever, I don't care, I'm too awesome, or whatever, I don't know, all kinds of stupid stuff. You kind of like make yourself think that you're an asshole when you're not, just to play along with your bubble of music, this comfort zone thing. So that's the thing, maybe Hitler liked music, I don't know. Now, a woman and her lemons happened to me so many times. You stand in a line, some old person standing in front of you, you take no participation, you just stand there and you hate so much. You spend so many time waiting for them to finish their thing. It will take about a minute and your hate will grow. You spend so much energy boiling inside of you instead of just helping the person and getting rid of the whole situation in seconds, which is what being a person is, right? So anyway, these are just little examples of what actually, this is a very colorful example of what happens to my brain with and without music. This is huge. This doesn't really change my personality, irreversibly. Thankfully. I took the earphones off and the next day I'm a normal person that can help others and being a decent member of society. But how many social experiences I didn't get through the whole years, becoming socially awkward just because I'm not very experienced in talking to people. Who knows? Maybe I would be the president by now. So in conclusion, are you even listening to me or are you just staring at this thing? I'm gonna put a beanie on. Okay, in conclusion, if you're the kind of person who listens to the music all the time, I highly recommend to give that up. It's not normal, it's not okay, and it's really crippling without you realizing it to your social strength and to your productivity when you have to do a lot of things during the day. It was so weird when I stopped the music to realize that actually a day is a pretty long thing, and you can do more than one thing in a day. It was so hard for me to do anything. I'm so unproductive usually. It takes for me so long to get started on doing something. But when the music is off, you just sit here and well, I literally have nothing else but to just start the thing, I guess. And I just do it. I don't know, it's so much better. So the attitude that I came up with for music now is that you have to listen to the music kind of like the way you watch movies. You sit in a place, you turn on a specific portion of music, and you listen to it. Like you actually listen to it. It's an activity that you do. Or an activity would be painting, or something that you just sit down and you do it. Don't keep it on all the time. It's eating a huge portion of your life away. So yes. I guess this is it. Awesome haircut and music is evil. Covered everything I wanted to say. Sorry for too many non-art videos lately, but I don't know, it kind of naturally happened. And I'm not gonna stop if it happens again, so yeah, that will be happening. Hope this whole theory of mine will be helpful to somebody. I was really trying to look up some articles about music and productivity. They're all written in a context of music being helpful for productivity, but you can see how this type of articles is always written from the point of a person who doesn't really listen to music a lot. So when you're in the office, you can turn it on and it will be more productive for you. Cool, but how about the influence of music when you're just constantly listening to it? So I think hopefully this will help somebody. I don't know. I think it really helped me. We'll see. It's kind of hard though to listen music in small portions. You know, it's always easier to go cold turkey on anything than to actually give it up a little bit. But we'll see. It's really hard to stop music, but it's much easier to keep going without it. Like after an hour of no music, you will feel how you're so much more real time in your actions. It's really great. So seriously, give it a chance if you are like me. And I thank you for watching if you did. I guess you did if you're here. Leave a like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Listen to the world. Do whatever you want. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.